Hi friends, today we are going to discuss Aristotle's idea of a tragic plot and his definition of plot, because according to Aristotle, plot is the soul of the tragedy, and Aristotle devotes considerable attention to the examination of nature, structure and all other elements of plot. He said that plot is the soul of the tragedy, because without plot there can't be a tragedy. Of course, we can't accept this doctrine in the postmodern drama, because Waiting for Godot is an example. Here, there we find that there is no plot, and again Aristotle differentiates between story and the plot. There is a big difference between story and the plot, and a good writer should pay more attention to the plot. He should be creative. And the Greek word poet means maker. So a poet is the maker of plot according to Aristotle. Again, Aristotle says that a tragic plot should have certain magnitude. It should have proper beginning, middle and end. And a tragic plot must follow three unities, that is unity of action, time and place. Aristotle pays greater importance to unity of action. And again he says that that the tragic plot should be compact. It should have certain size, certain length. It should not be too small or too big. Again, that a tragic plot should have organic unity, because as we go through it, we found that there should be the use of Hamartia, Peripetia and Anagnorisis. Hamartia, as you all know, that is the error of the judgment. That was the tragic flaw in the character of the protagonist. Again, Peripetia, the reversal of the fortune, and Anagnorisis means where the hero becomes aware of his own situation. So all these things should follow. But the most important thing that Aristotle says, that there should be a change from happiness to suffering, because it is a tragic plot. So the fortune have to be changed, and so the plot should have to show that there is a change from the good condition to the suffering, followed by anagnorisis. So these things are important while we study Aristotle's tragic plot. Again, Aristotle says that tragedy is an imitation of serious action, and its purpose is to arouse pity and fear. As you all know about the catharsis, its main function is to arouse pity and fear in the mind of the audience. So the tragic plot should be such that it should have some moral lesson at the end of the play. It should provide some education to the audience, and so it should arouse the feeling of pity and fear. Now, so it means that tragic plot must be a fatal one. There should be the element of horror and terror, and it helps to create pity in the mind of the readers or audience. Now, the plot are different. Tragic plot must be simple, complex. Simple, complex, and these are the two kinds of plot. Aristotle says that the plot should always be complex, because it is a tragic plot, and that in a complex tragic plot we find Hamartia, Anagnorisis, Peripetia. All these elements follow. So if we follow the ideal kind of plot according to Aristotle, then all these elements are necessary. But the main thing is that it should arouse pity and fear. It should follow three unities, and again it should have Hamartia, Anagnorisis, then the Peripetia and hubris. And again on the other hand, we find that it should have certain magnitude. It should have some serious action. Seriousness, high seriousness is the main subject of tragedy. The subject of the tragedy should not be trivial or jolly. It should have some serious purpose. So this is all about Aristotle's tragic plot. And so again Aristotle points out a very important factor while analyzing the tragic plot. He says that poetic justice is not necessary, and there should be no double ending. Aristotle was against the poetic justice, and especially these elements of Hamartia, Anagnorisis and Peripetia are very beautifully followed in the play Oedipus. Aristotle cites the example of the play Oedipus, where we find that when Oedipus becomes aware that he has married his own mother, and that so this was the moment of both periphrasis and anagnorisis, because both comes together, and it's more powerful. Where in a tragedy both anagnorisis and periphrasis followed together, then the tragic plot becomes successful, because Oedipus becomes aware of his birth, and it causes change of fortune, because from that point his fortune changes from good to bad, from happiness to suffering. And it was a moment of anagnorisis also, because he becomes aware of his true birth, of his true identity, about his true he come to know about his real parents. So in Oedipus complex we find that both these things follow mix up together and creates a very beautiful impact. So according to Aristotle, a tragic plot should have all these elements. But in modern drama, in postmodern drama, now everything, especially Aristotelian's view, are not that acceptable, because we find that in Waiting for Godot there is no plot, and nothing happens there, and even there is no unity of time, place and action. So but it's successful, it's a huge success, it's a masterpiece. So we can say that according to Aristotle these elements are necessary, but it is not that in order to write a drama you have to follow this. But one thing is that Shakespeare also follows unity of action in his plays, unity of action, and unity of time and place is really hard to follow, because according to unity of time you have to finish the drama in the range from morning to evening, and it's not possible that you can complete the whole drama within a single day. And another thing is that unity of place is also very much hard to maintain. So unity of action is very much important, and Aristotle also plays much greater importance to it. And his theory of catharsis, there we find the purification and clarification theory. He wants to purge the emotions of crude and other bad emotions, and he wants to arouse pity and fear in the mind of the audience, because the real purpose of the tragedy is to make human beings aware of certain faults, and to create emotions or pity in the mind of the audience, so that they would never try to attempt such sort of deeds as the protagonist done. So the thing is that the plot is the soul of the tragedy according to Aristotle, and he follows 3 unities, and then Hamartia, Anagnorisis and Peripetia, and his theory of beginning, middle and end. So this is all for today. Thank you, friends.